Well, all right. Welcome back to my Media Museum for part 8, the final episode of box 9 of our 45 RPM vinyl records. And this one's a true treasure, especially in my book. Mel Blanc, the voice of numerous Looney Tunes characters, but most noticeably Bugs Bunny. I thought a booty dad. That's just really awesome to have on a 45, especially in this kind of condition. It's like the day it was made. It's noted $3, and yes, I paid $3 for this because this was, when I came across it, this was a treasure. I remember the day I bought this. It was at a record fair up here north of town. Yeah, the B-side of this being another little song called Yosemite Sam, which Mel Blanc also did the voice of Yosemite Sam. He did the voice of a lot of the Looney Tunes. But this is a true treasure in my book. Really happy to have that one in my collection. And following it up, we've got a few kind of sort of novelty ones here. Little Red Riding Hood, hey there, Little Red Riding Hood. Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs, and there was a Bruce Willis movie, can't call the name of it right now, where he was like a patrolman on a boat in the docks of Chicago, I think it was, and they used that song in that movie quite a bit. The B-side being Love Me Like Before. And it was an old song when it was in that movie. I don't know why. I just mentioned that because it just happened to come to mind as I was looking at it, as I was singing it somewhat. And here's a really cool, I like this sleeve. That sleeve's kind of different, kind of neat. And it's got a Chess Records 45 in it of Here Comes the Judge by Pigmeat Mark Ham. So... interesting name, Pigmeat. But I do remember the song, Here Come the Judge. And the B-side being The Trial. So I guess once the judge is in the room, you can get on with the trial. Then we've got one that you may or may not recognize. Popcorn by Hot Butter, 1972. You may not even have picked up on it from me trying to hum it there a little bit, but if you heard it, if you don't remember it, if you heard it, you'd recognize it, especially if you were around in the 70s. It was quite popular and got quite a bit of airplay. And the B-side of that being At the Movies. I was at an antique shop here just a few months ago, and they had the full album of this, which I had not seen before. And it was kind of interesting, but I wasn't about to pay what they wanted for it, which was some ridiculous amount. And I do have two identical exact copies of that back to back there in the box. There's nothing different other than this got a 25-cent price tag. And that's why I showed you the other copy, even though it had a few dings around the center hub. And I actually do have this Fats Domino Sick and Tired. I think it was even on my Fats Domino video that I made and uploaded. So maybe these sleeves got mixed up by a person and they had the same 45s. But anyways, in this copy, it's got Yak Yak by the Coasters. And I thought this one's kind of interesting. I'm not sure if this is a Fritz one that somebody tore off, but Makes Me Feel Like Home. Now, that's kind of interesting how the song Yakety Yak could make somebody feel like home. To me anymore, it kind of reminds me of Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito singing it. But anyways, the B-side is Zing with the Strings of My Heart. And somebody crossed that out and wrote Dress and wrote Bruce Likes Himself on there. Okay. So, another Coaster song, not one that I'm as familiar with, but I thought it was kind of funny how they changed the title of the song and Bruce likes himself. Okay, moving on, we've got a copy of The Stripper, na na na, na 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 na, by David Rose. And you know that song, it's been in tons of movies, tons of TV shows. It's been quite well used over the years. And it is an instrumental, by the way, of course, if you don't know that. And the B-side being another song by David Rose called Ebb Tide, which I'm not anywhere near as familiar with. Then next up, we've got a Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass and Spanish Flea, which, I'm familiar with a few Herb Alpert songs. Tijuana Taxi is one that I really wish I could get a 45 of. That would be really cool to have on 45 because it takes me back to when I was really young. And I used to play that for the afternoon movie up in Seattle, Washington, where I was living at that time. But because I ran across it on a CD, I knew the tune, but I never knew who did it or what the title was. And then I bought a Best of Herb Alpert and was listening to it, and that song come on, and it was a revelation for me. Trust me, it was one of those moments that really, music can be special sometimes. And the B-side of this one being What Now, My Love. So there again, not tremendously familiar with Herb Alpert stuff, but I do know a few of his songs. And I do think we've shown this label before, but it is kind of cool the way they're advertising that they make different instruments and phonographs, and that was Decca, by the way. All right, next up, we've got a reissue version of Tubular Bells. Mike Oldfield did an album called Tubular Bells, and it was picked up and used as the theme song for The Exorcist, and you will recognize that song quite easily. It is noted as an instrumental, but if you've seen The Exorcist, you know the music. But I just really like that label. That's really cool there, the Virgin with the lizard, and that's kind of neat. Maybe even a little creepy with it being associated with The Exorcist. But on the B-side, he's got the original version of Tubular Bells. So that's all really interesting as well. You've got the original version of Tubular Bells, which runs at 4 minutes and 39 seconds. And then you've got the theme song version, which runs 3 minutes and 18 seconds. So I don't know if it was completely re-recorded or simply just re-edited or remixed. But they are different versions, that's much for sure. And then this one you might recognize too if you were to give it a listen, Winchester Cathedral. I can't sing it for you, but it is another instrumental song. That's 3 in a row here we've had that are instrumentals. But the new Vaudeville Band, and I don't know just how old that is or how far it goes back, but I would not be surprised if it was at some point in the 50s. It's definitely no later than the 60s. But B-side being Wait for Me, Baby. All right. Now, moving on, we got Little Jimmy Dickens doing When the Ship Hits the Sand. And that's got to be meant to be some kind of play on words, because it's hard to even say when the ship hits the sand and not say the other bad version of that. But I know you know what I'm thinking about. Do you know what I know that you know? Eddie Murphy reference there if you didn't catch that. All right, B-side being Truckload of Starving Kangaroos. Now, that don't sound too good. And I have not listened to that, but that's definitely my kind of song title that would get my interest and make me want to take the time to go over and throw it on the turntable. Find out what a truckload of starving kangaroos is all about. All right, then we've got Jim Stanford with Spiders and Snakes. And I do have quite a few copies of this one. Unfortunately, this one does have a big price tag over that MGM logo, but the grooves are really nice and clean. It would sound really good. You don't hear that price tag when you play it on the needle, so that's more important that the grooves are good than that the label's good in my book, because I'm more interested in listening to it than looking at it, even though we're just looking at them documenting all these. B-side being Undecided, and I think that there are a couple different B-sides for this song floating around out there. I don't remember Undecided being on the one of the other Spiders and Snakes that I've looked at recently. Couldn't tell you what it was on it, but I don't think it was that. And then here, this is a great film, one of my favorite John Waynes. Johnny Norton doing North to Alaska. And yeah, that's, pretty much country and western, but it's not twangy. It's not a horrible song. And just simply because of the connection with John Wayne, I am a huge John Wayne fan. When we couldn't go out hunting and fishing on the weekends, me and my dad were either watching John Wayne or Looney Tunes. He had a good sense of humor, and he definitely loved John Wayne. All right, B-side here being the Battle of New Orleans, which I'm not real familiar with, but it does seem to ring some bells. I think it's a traditional song. It says arrangement by Jimmy Driftwood. I don't know, but that's what's on the B-side there. And then wrapping this one up, we are done with box 8 here. The final vinyl in the box is something kind of different and unique. It's Hollywood Album Center introductory offer, 33 1/3 RPM, 7-inch. So it's the same size as the 45, but you'll notice it's got the 33 hole and it's clearly marked as 33. And they call it a long plane. It's kind of a mini album, I guess, but it's got 5 songs on each side: Unchain My Heart, Peppermint Twist, Hucklebuck, Peter Gunn Theme, dun 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 dun, and a whole lot of shaking going on. I don't know if these are the original artists, or they're re-recordings, or instrumental versions, or what. I haven't thrown this on, but it is an interesting vinyl, no doubt about that. The B-side of it being Please Mr. Postman, Fool Number 1, Puppy Love, Calcutta, and Madison Time. So I recognize about half of the titles on here. I don't know them all. So anyways, I want to throw that one in at the end just because it is different and it is unique. I hope you enjoyed box 9. We'll be back another day with box 10. In the meantime, I might start doing some individual bands. We'll see what mood strikes me. So hope you enjoyed that. Hope you come back for more. Have a wonderful day.